episode 2 of My Suburban Homestead, and we're here in the backwoods. Just wanted to talk about a couple things, a couple important factors, and if you hear society in the background, it's because you don't get any land to yourself nowadays. That's one of the sad parts about this world. You cannot go 100 feet without a cell tower, without some sort of electrical EMF device attacking you. If I turn the camera any direction right now, 5 degrees, you're gonna see something, and it's painful. If you hear some music when people pass by, trust me, I don't want them on my property, you know what I mean? On the way over here into the backwoods, I was thinking some ideas that I wanted to share. One of them being, the universe is a reflection of your own soul. When we see this world and we see the positive and the bad, it's a reflection of what we are giving to the world. And when you look around right now, you don't see many people giving, you see people taking. I encourage you to look at yourself and see how much effort you're putting into giving. When you were younger, you were told that charity was the thing that was going to make you feel good. I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I think the case is that creativity is charity, and you gain something from it, but other people can gain more. The potential for growth from others is the charity that you give. There are benefits to the modern world, like these headphones I'm wearing now, which are definitely not good for me in a lot of different ways. It shows that primal living and primal philosophy isn't necessarily where we're supposed to go. Humankind is supposed to move forward and transform nature while still worshiping it. We aren't supposed to break away from it, and because that causes so many detrimental consequences and symptoms of a larger sickness when we go astray. Human achievement is supposed to be hand in hand with nature and with God. So when we see something like this, we can see a lot of things that are wrong and a lot of things that are right. And it is your fault. It is your fault in a way. This is why every religion has a sense of guilt involved with it, because manifestation is real and it is also largely subconscious. You're not on the right timeline because you manifested that it's gonna be the wrong timeline. That's why it's important to be pessimistic about reality, but overly optimistic about the future, because it puts a sense of grounding into you in order to do the right thing and to push the right way. Number one thing that anyone can do right now is take a look at pollution. Anywhere there's pollution, you see people who have a sense of learned helplessness and have no motivation to create. Any society where there isn't pollution is, one, a good one in my opinion, but two, in touch with this divine connection to where they're supposed to be heading. Think about where you've seen pollution in your own life and think about the type of people that live around it. It's wrong to think that somebody will clean up that mess for you. Just like anyone would tell you, it's wrong to think that someone else will make you successful or push you or complete life for you, just in general. So it's a symptom of a larger sickness of the individual. And there is the snowball effect when it comes to this stuff. So the end goal with this homestead community isn't to break away from society. It's to regrow society. If you have one spot of grass that is green, it grows and expands outwards. It doesn't necessarily die because the other grass around it is dead. It takes over that grass and grows it. So we should all look outwardly and see what obstacles are in our way for this creative approach. And we'll talk about more of those obstacles that I've noticed, and we can go from there in episode 3. Awesome. Okay, so I'm testing this out right now wearing my EMF headphones. I'm just testing to see if the mic can work pretty well on these, and we're gonna be doing basically episode 2 of the homestead, finishing it off, starting it. I don't know where I'm gonna edit this. I'm gonna be reading my schizo notes to you. I'm just gonna be reading some random stuff, probably talking about dimensional travel and the mindset. Being aware of ego is something that many people don't really seem to be able to do. And everyone has the wrong interpretation of what ego is. If you can hear my livestock meowing in the background, I hope that's okay with you. As I was saying, what is it and how do we interpret what too much or too little is? Obviously, it's going to be a survival instinct to have ego to begin with. I think that what I do when I make cringy videos is completely destroy my ego, and it comes at a cost of being able to keep myself safe socially. And I'm okay with taking that risk. I'm okay with sacrificing it because I understand that it's all or nothing. When you look at life and you think about what your end goals are, if you want to, there's nothing wrong with playing the safe game, right? But for some of us, we feel that the safe game isn't what's best for us. Some of us, and I'm not saying that I include myself in this all the time, but some of us may feel that we aren't supposed to play the safe game because it isn't what evolution requires of us. It isn't what God wants us to do. If you even have these thoughts occasionally, I would say you're probably one of them. If you feel the urge to take massive risk, I think what you're supposed to do in life is take massive risk. If you don't really feel the urge to, then I would say this isn't for you. What I do isn't really going to be for you all of the time. I think you'll still enjoy it, but it won't pertain to you. It won't connect to you on a deeper level, right? And that's the thing about cults. People who play it safe aren't going to get in a cult in the first place, but somebody who needs something on a deeper level than what is genetically stable is going to be more interested in joining a cult. So the basis of my dimensional theory is that we have the 10 levels of dimensions, of course, and it is like a hierarchy of needs. You go through 1 through 10 being God, 1 being basically hell. I wrote here, mentally I am free on all levels but physical. The one unknown on my brain is the connection with religion. I'm connected with God, but I am unable to talk to him consciously, only through your gut. That's what people call their gut reactions. When you're at your most healthiest state, that's when your God is speaking through you, right? I think this is how our ancestors talked to God. They walked with God through their physical presence because they were connected with nature, and it created oneness. And only through civilization and our path away from nature was this clouded. I'll say misted because mist leaves water that drips and forms and collects more water. And when the mind is clouded, that's when you end up sinning. And that's why it ends up in a spiral. Because just like mist collects more and more water until you're flooded. This is also why morality can be hard for some people. And you can blame someone who may have a clouded mind. But in reality, is that them or is that the water that's already been there since their birth? Another question that comes up for a lot of people is, let's say someone has extremely low IQ and they end up doing something negative, right? Is it just because they have a clouded mind, or is it not really their fault? Another point that could be made against this is, why is the cockroach a natural enemy? It doesn't have a clouded soul, it just exists. So should I be sympathetic to a cockroach? I would like to say it's fulfilling its purpose, but its purpose in this case is decided by me and me alone. Maybe my gut reaction purpose is all that's needed in most cases, just something to consider. I'm not going to expand on these things because I think you should let it sit with you. If you don't understand it, just let the idea sit with you. And then 3 days from now, come back in the comments and let me know what you're thinking, because these ideas, you may say they're not fully thought out, but I don't think they should be. I think they are open for interpretation and to change through time. Something like purpose may be fit for me, but that's all it may need to fit forward, right? So for me personally, any clouding that may happen in my life causes a complete backtrack in terms of progress for me. It also creates an imposter syndrome for a position I don't even have yet. The only logic I have is it's better to try and fail than to not try at all. And realistically, even if I were to try and crash, my impact on the historical terrain of linear time would butterfly effect into something hopefully positive. My intention is positive, so my outcome will hopefully be positive. Coping is the one thing left hiding truth from itself. It hurts to find out when you're coping. Most people deny it and reframe the truth you didn't want to accept in a positive way. And you can remove the coping from your life. But here's an example. You are not a hard worker, right? And the cope here is working, of course. So if you're not a hard worker and people tell you this, you and the person are coping by saying, what is a hard worker? You need to reframe this, and it's someone who works efficiently, right? The work isn't in the right form, and that's why you're not a hard worker, because it isn't in the right form for you. It requires immediate action. This requires immediate action, and it needs to be immediately fixed. Any sort of stress coming from work that you don't feel that motivated to do needs to be immediately fixed. You wouldn't be called a hard worker if you completely enjoyed what you did, obviously. Even someone like Steve Jobs loved what he did, whether or not it was moral at the end of the day. But he was able to say, and he says this confidently, that he doesn't want hard workers, he wants lazy workers, because lazy workers know how to get it done faster because they find shortcuts. The worker themselves, they don't think they're lazy. No one ultimately thinks they're lazy. No one's gonna attribute themselves a negative trait and genuinely believe it. Want to believe it, we'll say that, because even if they do believe it, it's not natural for them. No animal thinks negatively of themselves. The greatest sin that everyone commits is to sit with coping out of sloth. And maybe this isn't true. It's the greatest, but it is a heavy time killer, which means it's a you killer, because we on the third dimension operate in time solely, right? So it's pretty bad. And I would say it's a form of self-harm. Well, all sin is, but this isn't true because we have an unintentional defense mechanism. We all know that all sin is equal to self-harm. So to sin is a consequence of coping from something not going right. And those are just some ideas to sit with on this episode 2 of Homesteading. I think I'm gonna make this a different series, probably call it, I don't know yet, but we'll figure that out. And maybe I'll do some sort of chat like this, where I talk about what ideas I have written down, and then I'll expand upon it. I really just wanted to test this to see if the audio is working, but we can let you sit with the ideas to anyone who watches this, and then we can come back to it. I definitely will have more of a concrete topic the next time, but this general idea of coping comes up a lot, and I wanted to plant a general seed of something that will be discussed, right? So something that I also want you just to sit and think about later on is what would your life be in a perfect scenario, right? What is your ideal utopia, and how do your emotions play into it? If you were doing everything you wanted to in life, do you really think that you would have negative, unwarranted emotions come into play? One thing that a lot of people get wrong when it comes to their daily work life is they think that they're having negative, unwarranted emotions, but in reality, it's coming from somewhere that they just never considered. You see this when people get angry in traffic. They say, oh, I'm so angry, this guy cut me off. That's why I'm screaming and punching my steering wheel over and over. It's an unnatural reaction. The real reason they're upset is probably because of their job. Probably because they have to sit 12 hours listening to some sort of manager that they hate or some sort of boss they hate. And now their subconscious needs to release this emotion to or from work, knowing that their time is going to be spent thinking about that. Usually what's on someone's mind the most is what they're coping about the most. And everyone copes. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It is a bad thing that happens, but everyone copes because we don't live in a natural world anymore. Those who are truly happy aren't coping much. We have coping as a defense mechanism so we don't call out and see what's going wrong, so that we can live with it in case we are slaves. If everyone's coping all the time and it's our brain trying to trick us into not thinking we're slaves, what does that tell us about yourself? It means we're slaves if you can't figure it out. So yeah, because we're able to know this, because you're watching this video now, we're able to do something about it and fix as much as we can. And we have to be positive and optimistic that we're going to be able to do this and we're going to be able to fix all of this. Because if we're not, then there's no point. We should just give up now. I'm not going to say the TikTok word for it, but we should just end the video game, if you know what I mean. So we got to be optimistic. We know it can be fixed. We've seen it possible, whether you're religious, the Garden of Eden, whether you're not, and you can just believe that utopia is possible. And if you don't believe that, then you can still just look at nature and see animals that are perfectly happy, living their whole life. They're not domesticated. They have moments of stress, but it's never permanent. You don't see monkeys going around hating themselves in nature. You don't see lions being angry at nothing. They don't have traffic to get angry at, sure, but you don't see them waking up in a state of anger and stress for absolutely no reason. Same with bears. Lions, tigers, bears, all of them. They're not having the same reaction we are to day-to-day life. Body, mind, soul, it's all connected. And if you don't have your temple right, you're not going to be able to have the outside of your world right. This is talked about a lot by me when it comes to manifesting your own reality. This is what I talked about earlier, or later in the video. I'm not sure where I edited it. But when I'm in nature and I'm telling you about this, manifestation of the world around you is created by you and you alone, because you're the temple that expels this energy. By doing that, you can either raise the dimension you're in or lower it. This is why the dimension's outside of your body. It isn't you, it's the dimension you're in, because you're on that plane of existence. That's why you're able to raise or lower it. So yeah, something to consider. Go into specific topics about this in the next video. Try to be more concise about it, but I just wanted to test. Let me know if you watched this, drop a comment, and it's going to be on YouTube for a while, so let me know what you think. If you're watching this in the future, I will check comments. Alright, so like, comment, subscribe, peace, guys.